My second big New Year's resolution for 2018 is to go the whole year without getting involved in a car accident. I know this sounds funny, but I've been in three big accidents in recent years, and I have a little bit of a problem with concentrating. I get easily distracted by external events when I'm driving. Well, I take precautions. I turn off my cell phone before I get behind the wheel. I know when the phone rings, I start to worry. Did I just get fired from my job? Did my girlfriend just break up with me? Is there bad news on the other end of the phone line? And I know I will be tempted to at least look at the number of when the phone rings. As I turn off the phone, the phone is like the equivalent of nuclear football for me. It can cause all sorts of problems when it rings because maybe it's a symptom of the situation I'm in, but whatever the case is, I know to do that. But sometimes I have a hard time peeling my eyes off of something that has grabbed my attention. You know, if there was an accident on the side of the highway, sometimes a fancy car on the road, or maybe there's a girl in the car, and my eyes stick to that. I can't seem to peel my eyes off of that stuff very easily. A couple weeks ago, I looked up in the sky and I saw Jupiter and I saw the full moon right next to it, and I just couldn't easily peel my eyes off of it, and I ran off of the road. It was a good wake up call that I need to address this year. Um, Another problem is that I have a tendency for my mind to chatter over a bunch of stuff. You know, a couple weeks ago, we had moved into a new office, and somebody had put in a air freshener that I didn't like, and I wanted to talk to my boss, bring in an air freshener that I wanted to use, explain to them that I had some health problems, and I literally spent it was a 5 minute conversation with my boss, but I spent 3 hours the night before rehearsing it, and even then I didn't feel exactly comfortable doing it, and it probably affected my driving. I was very lucky; nothing really happened of it. Um, what else has gone on? I I rehearse conversations I plan to have with people in my life all the time. Oh, I have a tendency to panic more than actually make the conversation. Sometimes I actually don't make the conversation, but panic over it. I had a situation where I was what did I do one time? I know there was something that I kept waiting and waiting and waiting, and it was too late to make the conversation. I know I've done that before. Well, like when I'm doing these odd jobs, you know, like tutoring or sometimes at Craigslist, I look at the gig section, and I put off asking questions about it until you know, and then I realize there's a problem, and then it makes everybody uncomfortable. I had a situation where I had wanted to raise a price. I'd given the student a very good deal. I was doing private tutoring. I'd given the student a very good deal. I wanted to raise the price, but every time we met up, I got distracted by various things. You know, maybe the student was having a good day, and I didn't want to destroy it. Maybe I was having a good day, and I didn't want to destroy it. Maybe the student had just broken up with his girlfriend, and I didn't want to add more insult to injury. I just let little things like that. And eventually, I went the whole year without raising the price I wanted to. Anyways, I panic more than I speak. That's what I'm trying to say. Oh, it's a problem when I'm panicking in front of the wheel instead of driving. Um, Let me talk about the last few accidents that I've had. Oh, about 5 years ago, I was working in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I wanted to go see my girlfriend in Rochester, New York. And on the way back, there was a snowstorm. I really could have stayed a few extra days, but I was panicking about what my boss was thinking at the time, and I slid on some black ice and ran off the road, hit a tree. And then 2 years ago, 2016, I got involved in two car accidents. One day I had gone to the library to print out some literature about computer games. I wanted to be able to to work on my computer while looking at the printouts instead of having to scroll back and forth. And if I remember correctly, it was a Sunday. The library was closing soon, so I actually had to go somewhere else to work on this program. And headed out of the library, and I was so preoccupied with the computer program that I made a wrong turn. So I was looking for somewhere to make a U-turn, and as I made the U-turn, kaboom. And the problem is I had so many things stacked on my mind. The game, I maybe had some social problems when I was interacting with people in the library. I get very social anxiety, the wrong turn, getting lost, and I had too much on my mind, and that's a big problem I have. We don't have too many PSAs about the dangers of daydreaming while driving. You turn on the TV, don't drink and drive, don't text and drive. Lately it's been there. I think Washington has passed new law that you really can't do anything while driving nowadays, so except maybe the daydreaming. I don't think they mentioned daydreaming in there. Uh, and then 6 months later, I totaled that car. I was driving a Honda Accord at the time. What had happened was I was still working on my computer games, and I started to worry what's going to happen to my computer games after I die. Oh, I know it's a funny thought, but in recent years, I've gone to a number of funerals. I've been to my grandpa's funeral, and my girlfriend, her grandmother's funeral. And it made me realize that the games aren't going to last forever. And it's worrying because I've been writing games for 7 years now, and they just get bigger and bigger every year. They don't seem to show any signs of ever concluding in some way. I'll probably be laying in my deathbed, still talking to everybody tending to me about computer games. A couple years ago, I got food poisoning and ended up in the hospital, and I talked to everybody in the hospital about computer games. And I remember thinking that's just a preview of what's to come. And so I started to worry what's going to happen to my computer games after I die. And then I started to remember that the reason I had broken up with a girl not long before that was because she wanted children. And I started to think maybe it wasn't that bad an idea because at least I would have somebody to take on the games after I die. And I was thinking about raising children with her. I kind of missed her at this point. And I was thinking about raising some children with her, and that's when I crashed the car. And it was in the summer, thank God, because I was living in the car. I ended up having to live behind a bush for a few days before I found a place to move into, and so it was all good. Um, and I didn't drive for 7 months after that accident. I was scared to death about cars after that, and lately, when I first got this car, I was still scared to death. Actually, part of the reason that scared me to death was that I had to retake my driving test after that accident. The State Department was very concerned about my driving. I passed it, but the fact that they made me retake it really added to the fact that, oh my God, Andrew, you're such a bad driver, and it made me worry that I'm really going to crash again. And so I had a lot of anxiety, and actually, the anxiety probably contributed to some of the near misses that I've had in the last year. I'm trying to think what I've done in recent times that was a near miss. One time I had pulled up to it was a green light, but my eyes saw that it was green, but my mind got confused and stopped for some reason, and I almost got rear-ended as a result. What else have I done in recent times? I sometimes get into minor road rages with people because I get to a red light and if I put my gear in park and I get out the computer to write some games and then the light turns green and maybe I don't notice, maybe I have to get the gear back, maybe I have to put my seatbelt back on and the person behind me doesn't have the patience for all that and they start punching their horn and sometimes I'm a little bit arrogant about my games, especially if I've been up for a few days writing them. I open the window and I scream, "I'm trying to solve a computer game!" And it's very arrogant, of course. And the person behind me then shouts back. And I really need to stop doing this before I run into more trouble. I've never, fortunately, none of these people have crashed into my car or pulled out a gun, but I know it's a matter of time if I keep doing this. What else have I done? Anyway, so I was looking at the odometer on my car, and I've already circled the equator of the Earth once, 24,902 miles. One milestone I hope to get without getting involved in a car accident, hopefully the car will last that long, is to go to the moon, which is about 250,000 miles. What other milestones could I do? I don't think I'll ever drive an astronomical unit unless someday cars can fly, or maybe someday cars could even leave the Earth altogether. Unless that, Oh, but I'm very excited about going this far without an accident. I used to have all sorts of problems with my car, but I also know that I can't be too cocky about it because that's when the accidents happen. So that's why I'm making a video about this. Thanks for watching.